Hello, and welcome back to Making Mind. My name is Keith Hayden, and this is the podcast where I'm teaching a computer and teaching you, the listener, about my skills for future reference, for your benefit, for my benefit, for everyone's benefit who finds this podcast. So I'm so glad you're here. Today's Saturday when I'm recording this, so this is going to be a brief one today, but I had a brief thought about learning. And this is a topic that I can talk about ad nauseum. As I've mentioned before, I'm a teacher by trade. I am a licensed, it's 2023, so my teaching credential is still good for now. But yeah, I did a master's program, or most of a master's program, back in California, and yeah, I learned a lot about how to educate different populations of kids, and I learned a lot about learning. And I like to learn things. I don't know about you, but I can be pretty inefficient at it at times. And I think that's one of the struggles we have nowadays in our modern internet AI fueled society, is that we have so much information at our fingertips that it can be very difficult to zoom in on a topic and stick with it and actually learn it to any degree of usable proficiency outside of just basics and beginner stuff. Tell me if this scenario sounds familiar. You open up YouTube and you see all of these videos, and you see a video essay about, I don't know, let's say robotics. Let's say you're interested in robotics. And you click on a video, you get through about half of the video, and you see another video in the sidebar. And you click on that video. And you got through half that video. And then before you know it, half an hour, an hour's passed, and you've watched 4 or 5 different videos. Maybe you've even completed a few. But do you remember anything from those videos? If I gave you a test on it, could you pass? If you had to teach somebody else, if you had to apply that skill, could you do that? Maybe you're shaking your head. And don't worry, I'm not trying to get on you or anything like that, but this used to be me a couple years ago. I mean, I would bounce from video to video, learn Spanish, learn coding, learn Japanese, learn this, that, and I wasn't able to retain any of this stuff. I wasn't taking notes. I wasn't applying. I was just watching people do it. And, you remember some of those things, but a lot of it you don't. It's in and out. So how do you solve this problem? How do you, get focused, and how do you actually not waste your time watching all these videos? They're fun in the moment to watch, and they feel good. It feels like you're learning something, but then you can't remember anything. How do you remember more? Well, something that I'm experimenting with right now is this thing, basically applying just-in-time learning to my online learning. And if you've never heard of just-in-time learning, it's something I was introduced to when I was in the military. But it's basically you get what you need as you're about to use it. So if you're about to go parachuting, then you get your parachute training. If you're about to go fire a weapon, then you go to the firing range, and so on. So I've started applying that to my online learning, and it's really been a boon for me to do that for myself. So for instance, this morning, I started composing a song for my podcast, for my sci-fi podcast, Sirius and Limnic, and I was just working on basic melody and working on a little arrangement. And so I pulled up a composing course that I bought last year. Now, that was the perfect time for that course because I could immediately apply it and do something with the knowledge. I did the same with a new note-taking app that I'm using. I decided to go through one of their tutorial videos as I was using the note-taking app so I could immediately apply what I learned. You see what's happening here? So the quick advice for today is whenever you learn something or you decide to go on YouTube and you find yourself learning things, do something with that information. Write it, say it, copy it, do something with it. Don't just watch the video and then think that, oh, okay, I watched a video on it, so I know how to do it, obviously. You probably don't. And that's okay because we're not machines, unlike the whole point of this podcast is making mind. We're not machines. Us humans, we have to get exposed to things multiple times for us to remember how to do it and for it to worm its way into our long-term memory. It just has to keep coming up and coming up. And as you do it more and as you have more exposure to it, you learn it. So that's all for today. It's Saturday morning and I don't plan on sitting in my chair all day. I'm going to do other things, but I'm glad that you listened to this episode. I hope you enjoyed it. Make sure you do all the things, everything everybody says at the end. Subscribe, like, share, all the above. It does help. I'm kind of making light of it, but it does help me, of course, if you subscribe to YouTube, if you share this, if you comment, that's fine. I'm presently making a list of things that I plan on covering in this podcast. I was working on it. It's a lot of things, y'all. It's a lot of things, this podcast. Usually I have a, expiration date for my podcast as soon as I start it. I don't know. This one could last for a while. So get comfortable. I plan on making this list public as soon as I finish finalizing it and putting everything I want in there. Of course, it'll be a growing list. It'll be evolving as I learn new things and encounter new things. And as I get more audience participation eventually, if you have requests, then sure, I don't mind at all. It just expands my skill set and I get to help more people in the process. So thank you for listening and I hope you have a great day. Bye for now.